guys, it's Cassie, Dust to Roses. Welcome back to my channel. So today we have part 4, part 1 of part 4 of our start to finish journal. This journal is a design team project for Crafty Lisa's Vintage for her Yummy Kitchen Ephemera sale, which is actually going on this weekend. So if you want to check it out, pick up some of the ephemera that I've been using in this journal. There's a link in the description box to her profile on Instagram. So we're going to start out this video with binding the journal. And so I just have 2 binder clips. I've gone through the journal pages, like kind of done a flip through and made sure all the pages are laying correctly. And so I'm just using the binder clips to like hold the pages together. And sometimes when the pages are embellished like these ones are, you have to kind of squish them down in the spine. So it might take some adjusting once you clip the pages together. And we're going to be doing a 5-hole pamphlet stitch on this journal. So I'm just making a hole right in the center of the journal pages, all the way through to the spine, with this little awl pokey tool. I actually think that it's used for like a die cutting machine, but I use it for this. So the tip is all mangled, but as long as it's pokey enough to get through all the layers, that's fine. So yeah, I've got 5 holes. I basically just kind of eyeball it. Again, I never really measure anything. You can measure if you want. You can make a template. Like that's totally up to you. But I just kind of eyeball it and do my center hole pretty much right in the middle, and then everything else kind of spaced out from there. And then I'm just using some embroidery floss. I like using embroidery floss to bind my journals because you can like use different colors. I've never had a problem with them coming unbound. The embroidery floss maybe is a little bit more expensive than using like a wax thread, but it's what I like to use, so that's what I do. So now I went out. I started going out from the inside through the center hole, and then I went in through the next hole toward the top, and then back out through the top hole, and then back in through the same hole we went back in the first time. So basically it's creating a loop through the top 2 holes and skipping the center hole. And then the second, like the other end of the journal, I repeated the same steps. Like I just skipped the center hole and went directly to the 4th hole from the bottom, and then made a loop around those 2 holes. So hopefully you could see that. I tried to show you guys on the video. You can always rewind and watch it again if you've never done this pamphlet stitch. There are also tons of great tutorials out there that are probably a little bit slower and easier to follow along maybe than this one. So yeah, that is binding the journal. And now we're going to start making some of the ephemera. So this week I actually got a little bit behind. I have this kind of chronic neck issue that becomes quite debilitating at times, and I decided to go to a chiropractor for the first time earlier this week because I was unable to turn my head basically for like 3 days. So yeah, I got a little bit behind, but as of Thursday morning, I started working on this journal again. So yeah, the first thing that I'm going to do now that our journal is kind of bound is to just trim up any of the excess threads that are still kind of hanging on the journal. That includes from the pages, from the cover, basically anywhere that I did some stitching. I want to kind of try and trim everything down. Depending on the journal, I don't always do this, but I feel like this journal is so bright and like cheerful and clean that I wanted to kind of have it clean of any threads that are kind of hanging down. So yeah, now I'm just going to clean up a little bit. Again, small desk problems. And in this video, we will be making a couple of pieces of ephemera for the journal, and then I have a second part to this specific video that will be coming out on Wednesday, like I said. And yeah, in that video, we're going to be working with the little silver baby spoon and making a few extra little pieces of ephemera. I think total I made 6 pieces, so this video, part of it was taken up by the binding. So we're only going to be making 2 pieces of ephemera in this video, a collaged tag and an altered envelope in this one, and then the other pieces will be in the second video. So I'm just kind of going through my stash. Again, I kind of take a while to like make a decision about what I want to make, and then after I do, it just kind of flows out of me. But yeah, I'm just looking through my things and trying to find some inspiration. I do know that I want to use this. It's like the paper that's in my hand. It's like in between the weight of a tissue paper and a wrapping paper, this paper right here. But it has all these illustrations of like dining utensils and plates and serving dishes and things like that. And yeah, so I'm just kind of getting everything together at this point. I did decide to pull some cards, postcards, and tags from my stash. And yeah, so I'm just kind of fiddling around, deciding what I want to make first at this point. But since this is more or less like my real live process on making a journal, you guys kind of get to bear with me and kind of go through the auditioning process while I do it. This is also recorded kind of early in the morning, and I was still working on my first cup of coffee, so you can kind of tell like maybe my brain is not working at 100% yet, and I'm still just like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? But yeah, it's fine. It's all part of it. And you guys probably know that feeling very well. Like, oh, I know I need to make something, but I don't know what yet. So at this point, I decide that I'm going to cut my own tag base and just go from there. Like, stop, messing around and just kind of make a decision. I did end up having to cut 2 of these because the first one came out very crooked. I do use just scraps of file folder from when I do the offcuts from making the journal bases. I find that that is like a really great weight of card to use for like a journaling card or a tag base. And so I'm just taking the corner off of one side and matching it up on the other to cut my tag. And then this tag will be the collage tag that we make in this video. Yeah, so I was like, oh, I have to punch the hole. And then I thought, well, I'll have to punch it again after, so maybe I should wait. And so, yeah, we're just going to ink it up, and this will be the back side of the tag that's inked, and then the front side will actually collage on. But yeah, just we all have those moments, I guess. So now I'm just deciding like what kind of paper I want to use as the base of the tag, and I do decide on this paper that I got. I started to talk about it earlier. I love this paper. I got it in a swap last year that I did with Jess. I'll link her profile in the description box of the video. She was so sweet. She reached out to me and asked if I wanted to do a swap with her, and so we just did like a supply swap, and she sent this paper to me, and I love it so much. It has like the French names for all these serving utensils and dishes. And yeah, so I thought, oh man, that's perfect for this journal. You guys probably know that I guess I realized that a lot of people who watch my channel come over from my Instagram. I did do a kind of a de-stash over the last week. And I actually have a bit more to de-stash. So I'm going to go through on the post that I made and like message a few more people to see if they want a box still. But yeah, I was de-stashing because I just had like things everywhere and it was like hampering my productivity. And then the whole neck thing happened and it's been kind of a hard week. But yeah, the de-stash was really great. I feel like less cluttered maybe. And my productivity, I think, will improve from that. I still have some organizing to do, but I do feel better with less. So yeah, I just hand tore a bit of that paper to kind of fit with the tag. And now that I'm watching this video while I'm editing it, I realize that I'm a tiny bit off frame because my camera was not angled the same way it was in the last videos. And I'm so sorry about that. I hate that. But yeah, my camera is like so high off of my desk now that I can't really look at it while I'm sitting down to make sure that I'm in frame. So maybe I just need to make some little marks on my desk for future videos. But hopefully I'm not too out of frame the whole time in this video. Yeah, so I'm just going through kind of my stash again, looking for like a focal point, I guess, for this tag. And I'm kind of auditioning things as we go. I'm not sure if I want to use a label or one of these coupons or a playing card. And I do end up using this playing card just because I want to leave it as a tuck spot on the tag. And I was afraid that a label might tear. So yeah, I'm just kind of still auditioning things and deciding how I want the layout to be. And I decided not to use anything outside of the playing card and the lace and a little trim piece because I don't want to take away too much from the pretty background paper that I've chosen to use. Yeah, so this is pretty much the layout that I decide on, and I think at this point I'm like, okay, I'm just going to glue it down because I'm overanalyzing and I'm going to talk myself out of it, so better to just make a decision. I can always make another tag, right? So yeah, I'm just using a little bit of Heather's handmade paper. Again, I'll link her profile in the description box of the video. Rabbit trail. I did a swap with Heather earlier this month, and I have the journal that she sent me, and she did a flip through of the journal on her profile, on her YouTube, I mean. But I want to know if you guys would like to see a flip through with kind of like my thoughts and my reactions to the journal. Like obviously I've looked through it a few times, but I can remember like how I thought about it when I first opened it and looked through it. So yeah, let me know if you guys would like to see my flip through of her journal. And if you would, just drop a comment below. That was just kind of something that popped into my mind when I was talking about her and her handmade paper. Yeah, so I just decided to use a tiny bit of that yellow vintage trim that I had because I felt like the lace, yes, it's pretty, but it was just kind of lacking in like detail, so I wanted to add just a little bit more detail. In the second video, I will go through and kind of stitch all of the ephemera pieces that I make, but I don't do any stitching in this video, just because I kind of save it for last on like making ephemera to just stitch everything all at once because I don't have space on my desk to have my sewing machine out and also like work. Like my desk is way too crowded for that already. So yeah, I just save all my stitching for the end. Okay, so we're done with that little tag, and now I'm just gonna kind of do a flip through again. This is something that I kind of do as I go along just to kind of keep it fresh in my mind, like what do I need to make for this journal? And yeah, so now I've decided that I kind of want to make an altered envelope for this like little half pocket page. And I have this envelope, but it has a purple stamp on it. And I know I had pulled another envelope that had 3 green stamps on it, and I want to use that one instead. So now I found the envelope, and it is quite damaged on the back. So I'm going to take you guys through my process on kind of repairing that, like picking the paper and just kind of how I do that with a more damaged piece of ephemera to begin with. I am the person that, like, the more damaged something is, I see that as a challenge, and I almost like more damaged pieces more. So yeah, like old postcards and old photographs that are just completely destroyed almost. I love those because I feel like I can add more of my own touch to them, and repairing them kind of gives them a new life. So yeah, this envelope just has seen better days, and so yeah, I'm just kind of fixing the opening a bit, tearing off some pieces that were just kind of really not working. So like there was a tiny bit of the envelope closed still, and I just tore that piece off because we'll be crafting a new flap for the envelope as well. So yeah, I'm just deciding like what kind of papers I want to use with the envelope and different textiles. We will make a textile flap for this envelope, but I do want to use this wallpaper because it's vintage, but it's like a vinyl wallpaper, so it's pretty thick and sturdy, and I think that it's like just the prettiest wallpaper ever for this journal. So I'm gonna add a big piece to the back and just kind of create a new back for this envelope. I am toying with the idea of like bringing the back all the way up to the flap, but I decide not to do that. And then again, I'm also like additioning a label as possibly repairing the back too. But I do stick with my initial decision and use the wallpaper. So I'm just using Fabrifix or 3-in-1, yeah, it's 3-in-1 glue. And I'm just attaching that wallpaper to the back of the envelope. And then I'll just tear the excess off the side. Again, I'm kind of off frame for some of this, and apologies for that. but hopefully you can still see what I'm doing. So yeah, I'm just going through and kind of deciding what I want to use for the flap, but I know that it needs to kind of extend over the part that's missing as well. So I do end up using some chenille fabric that I got from Jan. Again, I'll link her shop in the description box. And I want to use some of this yellow lace. I had originally thought maybe I wanted to use this wide white lace, but I decided I wanted something more opaque, I guess, for covering the flap, and then I thought maybe I'll do it on the front, but it's just too wide. I didn't want to cover, I end up covering most of the front of the envelope, but I didn't want to initially. So I decided not to use the white lace on this envelope, but instead, a bit of this yellow lace from my Reclaim shirt. So yeah, again, if you guys are thrifting or at an estate sale or garage sale or something, definitely keep your eyes open at the clothing for different textiles to use in your journals, because one shirt, that was one shirt that I was just holding, the yellow lace, and yeah, that one shirt is probably going to last probably a half dozen journals. So a little bit goes a long way in journaling, as you guys know, and you can find pretty fabrics and textiles in the most unexpected places. So here's a bit of that textile, the chenille that I was talking about. I love this fabric. It's like the softest chenille, and I just love how it looks with this journal. I had originally wanted to make a fabric pocket out of it, but again, because I needed to do my de-stash, I forgot that I had it. So I found it during my kind of cleanup, and yeah, so I'm just cutting it down to be exactly like the flap was. So I trimmed the edge that was missing down to be exactly like the other side, although there's no paper underneath. We will be stitching the pieces together, and this lace serves to kind of hold the cover or the flap closed on the envelope too. So yeah, now I have decided that I want to use this label because the front, the handwriting is not the best, but I do love the stamps. So I don't want to cover the stamps, but I do want to cover up some of the handwriting. And I don't ever put anything straight. That's intentional. I want it to look kind of put together and handmade and not perfect. Also the reason I don't measure anything. So yeah, I'm just going to start gluing everything down. Again, we will be stitching these pieces during the next video. But yeah, that's pretty much the end of this one. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Sorry again for kind of the being off frame. My life's just kind of been a mess this week, but we got the video out. I think it's really a great process video. You guys got to see a bit more of my auditioning pieces rather than me editing them out, because you guys said in comments on my last few videos that you enjoy seeing that, so I thought I would leave a bit more of it in on this one. If you've enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. I hope you've enjoyed it. And until next time, happy crafting.